I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, Doctor Who fans. Welcome back to AfterBuzz TV for the Doctor Who After Show. I'm Zach Wilson. This Adrian Snow's over here.
Hello there.
We got some Doctor Who to talk about.
We do.
And I'm waiting for this music to fade out so that I can do like the... It's going. There we go. Because we're not doing cold opens for the show anymore.
I know.
But I wanted to share with you guys what I was going to do.
Okay.
Now, but I needed no music to do it.
Okay.
Welcome to Doctor Who for Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror.
What is that from? Sounds like a haunted house type thing.
Yeah, I just made it. I did the haunted house thing because the episode for tonight is called Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror.
Yes.
Which is a great title.
Yeah.
Great title for a good episode. It was fine. What did you think, Adrian?
I think it can be. It was good. It can be rough sometimes. They've always done like little history shows throughout Doctor Who's history, and I think the way that Chris Chibnall does it sometimes, it's like they're putting in a lot of information. Like when we did go into Nikola Tesla and they're talking about the history of him and his inventions and things, a lot of those were actually, true. They were accurate and they included a lot of information. Like I was going to add on to it and I was like, actually, they hit pretty much nearly every invention he's ever done and the way he died.
Was the death ray a thing?
That's the one thing I don't think I looked up, but I wouldn't put it past it. I was more curious about the ozone.
Yeah,
like producing ozone. And yeah, he had a company called the Tesla Ozone Company. It was really weird. There were some of his inventions that made absolutely no sense. Like the ozone thing was like something about putting like some type of irradiated ozone or something like that through olive oil. So some of his inventions were pretty kooky, but
with
a
all
man
those,
of his time.
Tesla, I put him in a similar category as like Da Vinci, where it's like you see a goal of like, I think there is probably a way to make a machine that flies. Yeah, it was like what Da Vinci did, and he never got it to work. Yeah. But the very fact that he started working towards it is its own achievement. So Tesla didn't figure out how to manufacture ozone, but neither is anybody else.
No, but we should. No,
but he knew that there was going to be a problem where we needed to make ozone.
He was right. Here we are. 200 years later, almost 150.
And look, he was one of the early people in the idea of like wireless.
Yeah, and then had a gardener. We talked about this. Dave Child,
from a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. Went ahead and actually invented it.
Oh, Hedy Lamarr.
I was like, I'm merging two different actresses' names.
Yeah. Look, I wonder if this is going to be a thing. Is wireless technology going to be a big thing in Doctor Who this season?
It's looking like it. So we'll see how this all ties in.
That's the Master's big downfall, is that he needs wires.
Right.
And the Doctor's like, but I've got all these wireless people to help me solve the problem.
Listen, we're joking about it and we're laughing, but I'm sure there have been times before we joked and laughed about something only for it to be the thing that it,
Yeah. But anyway, this episode was fun. I liked the stuff with Nikola Tesla. I thought he was this was a good version of a historical figure.
And it was actually nice to see an actual Croatian play Nikola Tesla because he's Serbian Croatian. So Goran Višnjić, having him come in and do it was really awesome to see.
That's great.
And I'm always here for Goran Višnjić. So
no, that's cool that they could actually go out and cast somebody up.
It's nice that there's actually a well-known actor, successful actor who is Croatian descent who can actually do it. Because a lot of times they'll be like, well, we just couldn't find anybody. And it's like,
look, the smaller a country that you come from, there's suddenly you have a smaller pool of actors, and you kind of just well, Russia's close by, so what if we just got Russian people? You do what you can. You do what you can.
David Bowie has played Nikola Tesla, so
oh boy. But anyway, so the Tesla stuff was fun. Then they started infusing all the crazy sci-fi into it, which is cool. So we got a new alien race.
Yes.
They are called mostly new. They're called the Skiffra.
They looked a little bit recycled, eh?
Yeah, like to the point where I was surprised that
it wasn't.
that they didn't make a reference to it. Because like, look, Jonathan, in the booth, like, so that's the Skiffra. So we bring that photo up for those of you watching on YouTube. This is the Skiffra, and it looks crazy. I was talking to one person here. They said it looked like they reminded them of the Ferengi. Which I also see that from Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Which I see. But then if we go over to this other image that we sent, which is the Empress of Rachnos.
Yes.
From the Tennant era episode, the Runaway Bride, which was Donna's first appearance. Not when she was a companion yet, but before.
During the Martha.
Yeah, before Martha popped in.
Yeah.
This is the Empress of Rachnos, and it looks like they're like cousins. Like the Empress was a spider, whereas Skiffra, the Queen of Skiffra, is a scorpion.
I thought that was the Empress. I was like, oh, what a nice callback, and then I was like, wait a second.
I think it still is, because the Empress also had teleportation technology, and the Skiffra clearly do. Mm-hmm. So I think that the implication was there that they're connected, or they want us to put it together. Yeah. But they didn't want to necessarily say it out loud.
They had a floating spaceship over a city.
Yeah. It was like the parallels were really there.
Yeah.
But then they just didn't say it.
They didn't acknowledge it. Even the doctor didn't. Did the doctor ever say at one point? Did she ever say, like, this feels familiar or anything?
And to be honest, in this episode, there's a couple points where I'm like, okay, writers, you're like screwing up your own history a little bit here.
It's a lot of history.
So like this was I know Doctor Who's a lot, but like you could like there's certain things that like I expect you to track.
Well, yeah, if you can do a shout out to the Silurians, then you can go back and look at an episode that's only like a decade ago.
Yeah, that was we were talking about this before the episode. This was like it set me off to where I had to rewind it to make sure I had heard it correctly because I don't know, Doctor. I know this was probably an accident from the writer's room, but like, come on, Doc. You know that the Silurians are not aliens. They are from Earth. And to call them aliens, it's kind of offensive.
Okay, so I see your point, and now I've had more time to think about it because we were talking about it a little bit before the show. But they would still be considered an alien to the Doctor because the Doctor is not an Earthling. Just like Earthlings are aliens to the Doctors.
I guess, but she's referring to it from the human's perspective because she's like, where did you get an alien gun? Technically, to her, a human gun is an alien gun with that perspective.
True, but I think that's something even when the Matt Smith years, when he encountered the Silurians, he kind of also made the assumption of them being aliens at first.
They did take off to the stars.
Okay, yeah.
So for like dinosaurs on a spaceship, the Silurians had like escaped Earth to go out into space.
Yeah.
But they were born. Earthlings. They're an Earth-based species.
I think it's something that she was saying it for the Tesla's benefit, so that they don't have to do like a whole side piece about who the side segment about who the Silurians are.
Maybe I'm putting way too much on this, but like as a nerd, it was just like nope,
But yet they didn't explain how they got the Silurian tech, or either I missed it. Did they ever talk about how they got the Silurian tech? Maybe that's just like a little seedling that they're going to explain later.
They didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right.
Why do they have it then? Like, that's because it's not like they're the friendliest of the bunch.
Well, actually, no. They sort of do, because they say that the Skiffra are basically technology scavengers.
Oh, okay.
And they're just like stealing tech from all over the place, from like anyone they come across. So at some point, they stole Silurian tech. Okay. To be fair, they do explain it. They just don't say directly like you got this gun because of this. But they're so that's the deal with the Skiffra is they are
tech thieves.
They're tech thieves. I feel like I'm trying to
tech pirates.
There's a Star Trek episode that deals with something very similar where they encounter Next Generation because I was watching it recently.
I'm not. My dad was a Trekkie, but
I'm not a huge Trekkie, but I really want to watch. Oddly enough, I really want to watch Picard.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm like binging Next Generation. Anyway, there's an episode in Star Trek where they come across people who are scavenging other people's technologies.
Oh, cool.
So they remind me of that a little bit. Anyway, so you have this Queen of Skiffra who, her motive is basically just to get Tesla to fix her ship.
Yeah, to be the engineer.
How'd that work for you as a plot device?
I thought the plot was pretty weak. But I mean, no more weak. It's just an excuse to get a historical figure onto Doctor Who. I get it. They did it with Rosa Parks. They did it with Shakespeare back in the day during the Tennant years. And it doesn't quite ever sync up because it just doesn't really make sense. But sure. It was nice to honor, even though I'm sure we'll talk about how he's a little problematic because, I mean, he's a man of his time. But it's nice to see him honored in that way. It would be nice to really see like a Nikola Tesla film. It's not something that people ever...
Didn't we get one a few years ago?
I don't think so.
I'm going to look it up. Anyway, what were you saying?
I think it's because he's such a wacky guy that we don't ever really want to go through his history. And yeah, I'm sure they'd have to bring up the eugenics aspect, but I mean, there are a lot of people who are like historical figures that are, essentially prized and worshipped who believed in eugenics or believed in that women were second-class citizens, Gandhi. You know what I mean? So,
there is some stuff where like Tesla was basically predicting. It doesn't. The stuff I was reading doesn't necessarily even say that he's like arguing heavily in favor of it. He probably was, but like that he believed we would be dealing with eugenics and like punishment for criminal behavior would be castrating.
Actually,
people, like
he's not wrong on either point. We still do. There is still a mild dabbling of eugenics in terms of what it was originally created for, was to see if there were any terminal illnesses within the womb. Mm-hmm. And then castration is a part of imprisonment. If you are... So it's going to be a really dark moment on the Doctor Who after show. But if you are a rapist, sometimes they will chemically castrate you in prison.
Wow. In the U.S.?
I'm not sure if it's still legal in the U.S., but I have heard of it being in the U.S. They'll give you basically a pill. For a time, that was a part of being in the prison system. So they would give you a pill, especially if you were violent in prison, that would chemically castrate you.
I know that it had been like talked about in certain countries have done it over the centuries, but I didn't know that it was currently in use.
I'm not sure if it's currently in use, but I think within at least the past 30 years, and I could be wrong. Listen, I'm not perfect, but I have heard reference of it in my lifetime.
And look, we're like with CRISPR technology and all that, and like a lot of it is illegal. And I think there was somebody arrested in China for it, just doing it very recently with gene editing. But we are moving towards like Gattaca. Which is like, so like his predictions,
which is
again,
eugenics,
not super wrong. It's just like
he was right about a lot of things. He may have been, a bit wacky, but he was basically trying. He was, like you said about Da Vinci before. It's like he was trying to use what he had on hand for future inventions. Like there were things that just weren't available to him, but if they were, then yeah. Oh my God, we would have been so much more further advanced if people had just actually listened to him.
There was a
about certain things.
There was a movie 2.5 years ago in 2017.
What was it called?
The Current War, which was Benedict Cumberbatch as Thomas Edison and Nicholas Hoult as Tesla.
Oh,
I knew there was one recently.
I probably saw that and thought it was actually just about war, like an idiot. I probably was just like, because I don't like war movies, so I was like, I'll go back and watch that.
The Current War.
Why do they have
wordplay?
Benedict Cumberbatch played Thomas Edison, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's another note.
So let's talk about Edison in this episode. Not played by Benedict Cumberbatch, but played by...
Robert Glenister.
What did you think of Edison in this episode? We didn't see any elephant murder.
Patent. I don't know. I don't think that's an old way of saying patent. But
I thought it was old-timey English.
Didn't
bother me.
I was just like, no, man, like American accent. I'm like, you're doing okay. You kind of sound like how like a lot of Brits sound when they're doing an American accent, which is just like a very serious Tom Cruise character. But patent, I was like, no, like you need somebody there to be like, actually, they say patent. But outside of that, I mean, it was fine, It was nice to see Thomas Edison being going up and just being like a bad guy, because a lot of times for so long, Thomas Edison was like so prestigious, and he was such like an icon of knowledge and technology. So for him to finally be called out as like just kind of this guy, kind of like rest in peace, but like even Steve Jobs was kind of like, he's brilliant in his own right, but a big part of Steve Jobs and Thomas Edison was the people that they hired and kind of manipulated to build their own companies. And so to have Thomas Edison finally be called out for just being like a bit of a dick. Sorry if that's like vulgar, but he was.
He was a huge dick.
He's a huge dick.
No one's under any other assumptions about Thomas Edison these days. Like, look, it's not like he didn't do like great things with his life, and like he obviously furthered technology significantly. Yeah, but I would say he still was a dick.
Yeah. So that portrayal of him, especially as in contrast to how he treated Nikola Tesla and a lot of the thieving he did with Nikola Tesla, kind of just like undermining Tesla's career and his ability to really become a well-known figure up until the past 30 years or so.
Yeah.
It was nice for them to call that out. But also there was something I read where, or maybe that was in the episode. That was in the episode, so never mind. I'm just going to be quiet now.
Well, there was the what is now becoming like a running thing of like the Chibnall teaching moment.
Oh,
there were multiple ones in this episode.
There were multiple, which is kind of my hang up, is that I start to zone out in those parts.
As soon as she get like, and Jodie Whittaker has a very specific tone when she's doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do it. I tune out too.
And there's nothing wrong. Like I'm so happy that they're educating, because a lot of people don't know about Nikola Tesla. Just like a lot of people didn't know about Rosa Parks, but a lot more people knew about Rosa Parks than I thought. Anywho, but it was just, you know, that when you're trying to also do this like wacky sci-fi show. I will say this: the Matt Smith episode. No, was it Matt? Yeah, Matt Smith with he cut off his ear.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. That was really well done, because it was really just about honoring the historical character.
That was like a perfect portrayal, and I learned more about Vince Van Gogh.
Yes.
I read a lot about Vincent Van Gogh when I was a kid, because I was like, Starry Night's one of my favorite paintings. Yeah. But like, I learned more than I knew about him, but it never felt like I was being taught.
No, because it was just...
Or lectured to.
You just want to focus on, like, even with the Shakespeare episode, Shakespeare was a side character to the ghost, you know, to the ghosts that were coming in that inspired him to do the Macbeth and all, like, or not Macbeth, but Macbeth. And then, so he was a side character. But this is all about Nikola Tesla. So maybe instead of having aliens trying to come and get his intelligence, maybe just focus on Nikola Tesla. Like, maybe just make it about, you know, him having to stop him from creating something that might have actually put advanced humans in a way that we weren't ready for, or something like that. And like the doctor having to deal with the possibility, or with the fact that she's going to have to enact the history we know of Nikola Tesla. So she's going to have to make Nikola Tesla unknown and penniless, or something like that. Like, yeah, anything than just like taking 15 minutes out of the 20 minutes out of the episode to give me this historical lesson on Nikola Tesla, and then being like, okay, now here's the big villain, there's Skiffra. Because now my brain's just kind of like, well, now I'm just on Wikipedia looking up Nikola Tesla, and what's happening now? There's aliens.
It's not that information isn't interesting. It is. It's just when the doctor just has to like explain it to either Ryan or Graham or Yaz, it's just like, we know what you're doing. Instead of building it naturally into the story, you've taken time away to just talk to us as the audience.
You could just turn to the camera at that point then.
And I get that the Doctor Who historically was a children's children's educational program. We all know it was. It hasn't been in a long time.
Very long time.
And I think that like trying to like just wedge it into that it's getting really forced.
Yeah.
And it was like fine for like once or twice, and like the Rosa Parks, like it's like there's more than I knew about her in that episode.
Yeah.
But like I didn't need the speech about it. I just wanted to see it happening, and he needs to pull it back.
It's a
Chibnall.
visual Doctor Who, this isn't a radio play. This isn't a book. Like, we're watching it, so you don't have to tell us. Like, just show us.
It's like there are footnotes at the bottom of the episode, but, like, you have to read them.
And I also found it weird that they had never heard of Nikola Tesla.
I think, like, at one point, Ryan was like the car?
Yeah, or he said Nicholas who? And I was like, what? Because, sure, if this were in 1995... yeah, they probably wouldn't know who Nikola Tesla is. There weren't a ton of references about him.
Yeah.
But at that time, but between Tesla car, between what was that? Was it The Illusionist or The Prestige, where he pops up in there? He pops up in the beginning, but played by David Bowie. Between the current war and the whole movie about him that I didn't know about, but I know existed.
It came. I was wrong. It came out just in 2019. It was shot for 2017, and like technically it was done. It was one of the movies that got held up in the Weinstein Company shut down after that whole scandal.
Yeah.
So it only came out a few months ago.
Okay, well that makes sense. But even still, if I say most. And I could be generalizing, but I feel like a lot of people do know at this point who Nikola Tesla is. Even if they don't know everything about him, there's been so many references to like the Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla wars that we have at least a frame of reference for him. So for them to know so much about Rosa Parks, but then to know nothing about Nikola Tesla, that read a little weird to me.
That makes more sense to me. At least because they baked it into like Ryan's grandmother was super interested in her, so like there was like reason for them to know more. I got all that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could have easily had it smoothed that out where like if the companions knew like half of that information, it became a dialogue instead of a lecture.
Yeah, or if they just knew anything, like like just
the guy with the big electric ball.
Exactly. Like you go to the science museum and you touch it, or whatever, or you see the thing.
Yeah. I know we have the big one here in Griffith, but like other people still know what it is. Anyway,
not the one that you touched. My bad. Sorry, that was a mistake. It's right next to that though, at the Griffith Observatory, and that's my brain did that.
That said, like I know that we're harping on like the speeches and stuff, but like there were also a few moments in the episode where I went like, I love Jodie's doctor so much.
Yeah, which ones?
Like where she goes like, I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting more.
Oh, from where?
I forget. I just wrote that line down.
I mean, I love her trickery of the queen, where she gets the queen to steal the device. It's really not. It's just a transporter. That was nice. It was nice to see oh my gosh, I wrote it down. The Wardenclyffe project. Just to see the kind of historical things, even just the weapons. It was nice to see the exploding ray not work. Because that wouldn't make sense that the death ray wouldn't work. Exploring ray.
The death ray, I double checked it, was absolutely a real thing.
Yeah, I would imagine that if they worked that hard to ensure that all the other things were real, that the death ray would be real too.
Yep. But of course, it did not. It did not work in the real world,
so it
wouldn't have worked here. Unless the doctor's not going to go fix his death ray.
No. But then. She did almost set that one dude on fire. And I was like, oh, that's intense.
Admittedly, like sometimes the doctor's rules about like fighting back are a little muddy.
And then she kind of electrocuted the queen. Kind of. It might have transported them, but still, it was like, maybe, you don't know. What if it didn't work? Like, what if you just electrocuted them?
She did like defeat them. Like
she did defeat them.
Like the doctor has
killed a few people. Like, let's be real. Like,
more
than a few.
Yeah. But I mean, there was the moment where the doctor's like going up to Tesla and was like threatening them, like, we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
And then she turns on like, this is an adventure.
Yeah.
It's just like the turn is really fun.
Yeah.
And like this is a fun doctor. I am sort of looking forward to her getting more into those dark moments. We haven't seen a ton of them.
I think that's coming up the next episode.
Yeah, based on the preview. Yeah. I'm so excited. The preview for next episode.
Let's get back to that, because that's what I want to hear about is the lore, the history of the Doctor. Really.
Yeah, and this episode did have some more lore in it. They had the orb of Thasser.
Yes.
Which I don't know if that came from anything.
I didn't look, unfortunately. I was getting through all mine, and I forgot to look up the orb of Thasser.
There were a lot of things in this episode.
But I assume that is something, because the Silurian tech was something, so. Is that popping up?
I don't think so. I think it was just for this episode.
Oh, okay.
And again, the amount of explaining that they had to do was like, yeah, this sounds like a new thing.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised that it it was just like, oh, it got hijacked. It was like a misdirect.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it'll come into play again later.
I would imagine. I will say this, if we learned anything from last year, is that Chris Chibnall is planting seeds in his episodes. You know, Tim Shaw, that was kind of a one-off. We didn't think anything of it, and then he made a comeback. And there is more of that theme with like the wireless thing. So I think
the Timeless Child is like we were like, wait, was that going somewhere?
Yeah.
And then it did come back this season. So
I trust them to come back like full circle with the stuff that they put out there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right, so I think it's time to get into some of the people who were involved in this episode with Who's Who on Who.
Yes.
That sound means that Adrian, take it away.
Yes. Hello. All right. Well, just real quick before I go into the people, or actually, I'll do it the way I've always been doing it and not go backwards. Robert Glenister played Thomas Edison. He's been in Live by Night, The Aeronauts, and Strike, which is a TV show that's currently out now. So I thought he did a good job, except for Patent. Goran Vishnik.
I stand by old-timey saying patent.
Goran Vishnik. I love you. I've loved you ever since I was a wee child. But you were in ER, Timeless, and what I know you from, Practical Magic. Oh my God, you're so evil and handsome in that. And for all you youngins who don't know Practical Magic, it's a 1995 film, 96 film with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, and I highly recommend it. Watching it with a glass of wine and a quart of ice cream, or pint, not a quart. Oh my God, a pint of ice cream.
Hey, no judgment.
It's the best thing in the world. And then lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about the Silurians. They're originally featured in the 1970 episode of Doctor Who called Doctor Who and the Silurians, episode 3 of that season. We know them now from the Matt Smith / Peter Capaldi years, where they're brought back as Alea was the original kind of villainous character that was introduced with Matt Smith, and then Madame Vastra, who for the longest, I will admit, because they're all played by the same actress. I thought it was just like, oh, Alea's come around to her ways, but it's just a totally different Silurian.
It was one of the jarring things about Madame Vastra. I love that character.
Yeah.
But they just like dropped her in as if she'd been there forever.
Yeah.
With no backstory anywhere.
And I was like, so wait, is this Alea? And she's just like taking time to come around to things, and
but
then
the doctor was so on board with her
Yeah.
instantly that we're like, I literally like have scrolled through things and I'm like, was there a novel or something that they just like
probably they do that stuff all the time.
If they haven't done that novel yet and I've missed it, like I hope they do, because I want to see like Madame Vastra origin story.
Yeah, Madame Vastra and Jenny. That was like a whole wonderful side.
And Strax. Some of my favorite stuff was the three of them.
And then, no, I'm thinking something else. But yeah, so that was it. That's it for Who's Who on Who. Just a quick one. There was a lot of information that wasn't released for the episode yet, so there were other actors I wanted to honor as well, but I couldn't get the information on their names, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you, Adrian. Yeah. And yeah, that was it. Like, so we weren't able to go live this week due to some tech issues, but like, be sure to let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of the episode so that we can interact with you, because we want to know what you guys think of Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. I like doing that. But yeah, please let us know. And before we sign out, I think we should do some predictions about next week's episode.
All right.
I'm excited. Next week's episode looks so cool.
It does. We're bringing in I call them the time cops.
The Jadoon.
I don't know, those time cop rhinosauruses. Or time cop rhinos. I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to get back to like the history of the Doctor. It's interesting to see the companions start to have a those kind of crises of like, is this what we're going to do forever? Because you do get kind of homesick eventually of like, well, am I just going to travel forever? It's a lonely life the Doctor lives, and I feel like they haven't really touched on that loneliness in a while, because usually Clara was always down for it, or Amy was kind of down for it, and then her family like was with her essentially, and then now we're kind of, or even Bill was kind of just always back and forth with the Doctor, kind of here, kind of out, but not quite feeling a loneliness about going back home. So for them to constantly be traveling with the Doctor, I'm curious to see how they're going to deal with that.
Yeah, and this Doctor hasn't been without a companion.
Yeah.
She picked up her companions right away.
Yeah.
Which is a different, I mean, look, we had Capaldi who instantly had Clara because she was a carryover, but...
And it doesn't seem like they take breaks either. Like we'd always see Bill go back home and like go on dates.
Clara took back home,
yeah.
go back home for long stretches. Yeah, this Doctor is not off adventuring without her best friends.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different from the way it's been. But we'll see if it's coming to a head. In this the next episode is called Fugitive of the Jadoon.
Hey.
I'm so excited. They released it. I remember they released a teaser for this episode so long ago because they were shooting apparently a Jadoon scene in public.
Oh, wow.
So they were just like, look, people are going to catch it on. Like, we're outside with a Jadoon.
Yeah, we have to tell them.
So they just put out an image of a Jadoon with a mohawk.
Yeah, well.
As like a press image. And I was just like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I think the better term.
Punk rock Jadoon all day.
Yes. I should call them space cops, not time cops.
They are technically, they are not time cops.
That's just what popped into my head.
Unless something new has happened.
Time and space.
I just love, because I also just love the way they talk.
Yes.
It's like, ro, do, ro, mo, so, ro. It's just like that.
And you can kind of learn the language. Is that true?
I somehow doubt it.
Oh, I thought that because when they did it for David Tennant, I think he had to.
Maybe
it.
They figured out like a couple things to like have some consistency.
Yeah,
who knows? But Fugitive of the Jadoon. I'm hoping that the Doctor is the fugitive.
Oh,
I want the Doctor.
I would
to
imagine
be the fugitive instead of somebody else, and they're trying to save the fugitive. I want them to be chasing the Doctor.
100%.
But I'm excited for like whatever
or maybe it's the
is
master.
Happening. We do hear his line in the preview.
So it might be the master that's a fugitive.
Interesting.
We shall see.
I'm excited.
We shall see.
All right, guys. Well, this has been the Doctor Who After Show on AfterBuzz TV. I've been your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on social media at @ThatZachWilson. And also be sure to check out my other podcast I do on the side, which is super weird. It's called Ships in the Night. We take cross-fandom couples, different people from different universes, and then we ship them together. We write some crazy fanfics, improv style, just at a round table. It's super weird. It's called Ships in the Night. Adrian, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. You can also catch me on the Magicians After Show on Thursdays at 6, and then most likely Outlander in February.
All right, awesome. Guys, this has been the Doctor Who After Show. Thanks for geeking out with us.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.